How many of you, every once in a while, experience something and you think, I think I just had my mind blown? I'm not sure. How many of you are having it right now?
Oh,
yeah. Shane has a unique gift he gives, and if you're like me, the first time we had dinner, I was like, where's my notepad? Which would be awkward in this restaurant, but so I can't let you go without at least asking you a few questions and then maybe open it up for a few questions. So there's
You're the boss.
Pardon?
You're the boss.
Well said.
I just work here.
Well said. How many of you, especially when he first started talking, how many of you, as he's walking through the different ages, you've got like pew, 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 pew connections being made? How many of you, like your circuits, you're trying to remember it and record it and write it down, but you're also like, okay, all of a sudden that thing makes sense. Oh, it's like tying the clouds together. Let me just like really practically, I'd love for you to, for us, not as like making judgments about good or bad, but just how you think about something like recently, my son's soccer game, one of the moms and I were talking on the sideline, and she's talking about, she goes to church where they gather in an auditorium, and then when it comes time for the sermon, up comes a video of the pastor who's across town, and this is a church plant in a different part of town. Mm-hmm. And I said, so each week you go, and there's singing, and then you kind of watch TV, kind of. And I said, does that work? And it wasn't like, I can't believe you do that. It was just, tell me about that. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, yeah, it works. Yeah, it's fine. Yep. It's great. I'm used to it by now. Yep. She said, I actually saw the pastor one time in person.
Yeah. Amazing. Imagine that.
So how do you, and we would be like, and maybe conventional thinking, well, hey, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Help us. What we all now are kind of tuned into. Wait. There's a bunch of stuff going on there. Unpack that for us.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is nothing's neutral. Obviously, every decision you make is actually going to have an impact on what happens to the gospel message. So the other thing I would say is whenever I've had this conversation with people in the past and I've said, does that work? They always say, yes, it works. And I always want to know, what does that mean?
Right, exactly.
What does it mean to work? And they say, yes, people like it.
Or they come.
Or they come. Now, this is not a surprise because screens, by the way, always win. Screens are passive pixels. They engage the right hemisphere of the brain, and so it's like eating cotton candy. So it will be more enjoyable to watch a screen than a real person. That's just the way it is. If we had a screen...
When we go into a restaurant, a lot of us, we have to get our back to ESPN.
Right, because the screen, and it doesn't even matter what's on. It could be an ad you don't care about. You're just like drawn to the eye. It's like, what? So that's the first thing, is that it's no surprise to me that people go, yes, it works, people come. Actually, if you want to grow your church, even if you're not in a big church, put yourself on a screen. People will actually be enjoying that more than you. It's just the deal.
It's like 50 people and then a giant screen.
Yes, huge. I want a screen this size in my church.
Right.
So that's the first thing people can understand. The second thing is that it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So, for example, in my context, we are Mennonites. And Mennonites have this really, really, really staunch belief in the priesthood of all believers. I mean, everybody has that on some level, the priesthood of all believers, but like Mennonites are crazy about it. And they make sure that nobody rises above anybody else. And that's not always the best, it's just the value that's there. And so what that means is, the moment you introduce a screen and you magnify one's image, you undermine inadvertently the priesthood of all believers. You create a celebrity. And that may not be wrong categorically. You just need to know what the losses are and what the gains are. Now, here's what you gain. You get to actually expose way more people to that message. That's why everyone does it. Everybody knows why they magnify an image. It draws more people. So the whole idea of video venue, but not just video venue, it could just be image magnification in your church live. You're actually creating... The medium is a wizard head, wreathed in flame, hovering over the audience. And it grants you authority, literally. 15-foot head, it's larger than all of us. You grant that screen authority, and you as a preacher gain authority you haven't earned morally. You haven't earned the power that that screen will give you. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it or can't do it. It just means please calculate the gains and the losses. None of us is above reproach in this. None of us. There is no purity. All there are are understanding unintended consequences. It means understanding what you undermine and then own it and acknowledge. That's the thing we're going to lose. We're sad about it, but we think God's calling us to this. What I don't support are when people say, it's great, it's awesome, and it's the pure message we've always been teaching. That's a lie. So that's how I deconstruct the video venue and image magnification.